Compassion. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. By His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. When we were growing up, we were taught to be kind, caring, and compassionate. Some of us remembered what we were told and imbibed these values, at least partially, in our lives. In a few remarkable individuals, however, compassion is evident in their actions every day. In November 2006, I had just returned from Kolkata, where Mother Teresa had established the Missionaries of Charity. Early on, Devang and I had made it a ritual to have a conversation after every trip about the city I had visited. This time, I wanted to tell him about Mother Teresa's work. However, we did not get a chance to chat as that evening we went to watch The Queen, a movie based on events following Princess Diana's tragic death. The following day, a lazy Sunday, we started talking about Mother Teresa and Princess Diana. Here were two lives of two ladies who could not have been different in terms of their upbringing, social circumstances, and the nature of their work. They were so different yet bound by the common quality of compassion. Mother Teresa was born in Albania. At the age of 12, she decided that she would become a nun. She left home when she was 18 to join the Sisters of Loreto and was selected to work in India soon after. She started out by teaching at the school in Darjeeling. During her time as a teacher, Mother Teresa was disturbed to see the suffering and poverty outside the convent walls. When she was traveling from Calcutta, now Kolkata, to Darjeeling, she experienced what she described as the call within the call. 2 years later, she received permission to begin her work with the poor. She gave up the Loreto robes and started wearing a white cotton sari with a blue border. In 1950, she received permission from the Vatican to set up Missionaries of Charity. The mission, in Mother Teresa's word, was to care for the hungry, the naked, the homeless, the crippled, the blind, the leprous. All those who feel unwanted, unloved, uncared for throughout society. People that have become a burden to the society and were shunned by everyone. By Johnson, 2011. Lady Diana was born in aristocratic Spencer family. When she was 19, she was engaged to Prince Charles, the first in line to the British throne. When Diana married Charles at the age of 20 at St. Paul's Cathedral, the marriage was a global event. Never before had any royal occasion generated such euphoria. Never before had 750 million people witnessed a single event on television. Diana became Her Royal Highness Princess of Wales. While Princess Diana found it difficult to cope with the pressure of her status, she was drawn to doing charitable work. She became the patroness of several organizations that worked for the upliftment of drug addicts, the homeless, and the elderly. She learned sign language as part of her commitment to the British Deaf Association, supported the Royal Marsden Hospital, and became the president of Great Ormond Street Hospital for Sick Children at Barbados, a charity for vulnerable children and young people. She displayed limitless energy to propagate her charitable work. At one point in time, she was involved with more than 100 charities. What drew worldwide attention was her interest in activities that were radically different from what the British royal family had traditionally been involved in. This included her works with those afflicted by leprosy and AIDS. Princess Diana touched those who no one was willing to touch. She talked to those who no one wanted to remember. In every interaction associated with her charitable work, her compassion was evident. Diana contributed to abolishing the stigma that AIDS spread by touch and became one of the earliest celebrities worldwide to hold and hug AIDS patients. Through her work at National AIDS Trust, she visited Africa many times. And through the publicity she generated, revolutionized the discourse on AIDS. After her divorce, Princess Diana became known for supporting the international campaign to ban landmines. She toured Angola and visited a minefield. She spoke about the horrors of landmines in England, the US, Bosnia, and Herzegovina. On the other hand, Mother Teresa had no resources. When she set out to work with the poorest of the poor, the initial years were very hard, and she thought of returning to the convent. However, volunteers soon began to join her, and financial support slowly started trickling in. She established hospices, orphanages, and homes for leprosy, AIDS, and tuberculosis patients, soup kitchens, dispensaries, clinics, and schools. Her work spread beyond Calcutta. She established centers in other parts of India, eventually setting up 610 foundations in 123 countries. When Mother Teresa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, she requested that the dinner be cancelled. She felt that USD 7,000 would be better spent feeding 400 people in Calcutta for a year. Mother Teresa and Princess Diana met once in New York at the Convent of Missionaries of Charity in June of 1997. Mother Teresa embraced Diana and walked with her arm in arm. They talked about compassion. They talked about the need to do so much and their beliefs. However, that was their first and last meeting. Diana died in a tragic car accident on 31st August 1997, and Mother Teresa passed away a week later on 5th September 1997. Two leading lights of compassion were taken away from the world within 7 days. Does compassion require a superhuman effect? No. Each of us is capable of compassion. Often we underestimate the small acts. A kind word, a kind action, a kind gesture, or a kind letter can make a big difference to someone's life. Children demonstrate compassion in their own simple manner, far removed from the complexities that adults display. For the acts of compassion, they accept no recognition and reward. Children, by nature, are compassionate. Adults can, in fact, unknowingly discourage that compassion by trying to control how their children interact with other children, adults, and animals. A child may want to feed a stray dog, but a parent, out of concern for a child's safety and hygiene, might stop him. A child wants to part with the most expensive toy he or she has, but the parent might say, "Don't give it away. That toy is too expensive. Give a chocolate instead." Children do not understand the materialistic ways of the world that are an integral part of adult life. The parent of a 7-year-old girl brought her to me for a consultation, as they were concerned about her growth. She had not been gaining adequate weight over the last 6 months. Her parents felt that she ate well at home and seemed to have no medical problems. The girl studied in a school that was really far from her home. Her home was the first stop of the school bus and in the morning and the last stop on the way back. This meant that she had to leave home at 6:45 a.m. and returned at 4 p.m. She only had a glass of milk in the morning before she left. In addition to lunch, her mother packed her two snacks, one for the morning and one for the afternoon. Her snack box and lunch box came back empty. As I calculated her dietary intake, I felt that she was being provided with adequate calories. I asked her if she liked what was provided to her, and she said yes. I asked her if she threw away her food sometimes. Children often do, and she said no. She did not seem to have any symptoms, and the examination was entirely normal. I was really at a loss. I felt that there is no need for any investigation. As the child appeared to be good health, I suggested to the family that we should meet again in a month. When I saw the girl again, she had not gained any weight at all. She had no symptoms, and again the examination was normal. The mother reiterated that the snack box and the lunch box came home empty. The girl had no complaints about the food she was provided. In the first consultation, she had been asked about throwing away the food. This time I asked her, "Do you finish your snacks and meals?" She replied, "Doctor, my friend and I do." When I asked her to elaborate, she said, "My friend does not like the snacks and the lunch she gets. Her mother died several months ago, and the nanny gives her the same snacks and lunch every day. If she takes the snacks and lunch back, she is scolded. As I don't like her food, we throw it away. And she and I eat what I take to school." Her mother hugged her and started to cry. Her father asked her, "Why did you not tell us? We could have packed 2 snack and lunch boxes for you and your friend." The girl just smiled and said, "I did not want to trouble Mummy." The girl had no thought twice about giving half of her food every day. She did not think about herself, for her friendship stood above everything else. A friend told me a touching story not so long ago. An 8-year-old girl was struggling to finish her meal. Her anxious mother nudged her husband to explain to their daughter the importance of finishing her meal. "Go tell her that she needs to eat well to grow. She needs to realize that she must be healthy. You must tell her, because she only listens to you." The father went to the dining table and said, "Darling, please eat. Eat for your sake. Eat for your mom's sake. Eat for my sake." The girl said, "I will, Daddy, even though I don't want to eat this, but first promise me one thing. Will you give me what I want if I finish the meal?" Without hesitating, the father said, "Fine, I promise." The daughter then asked, "This is a promise from Mummy as well." Now the father started to get worried and asked, "You are not going to ask for something special, are you?" "Not at all, Daddy," she said reassuringly. After the little girl finished the meal, she went up to her father and gently said, "Daddy, I want to have my head shaved." The father did not know how to react. The mother was aghast and shouted, "No way!" Her father tried to reason with her. "How about something else? Please reconsider." But the girl was determined. "I ate what I detest, and now that I have done what I had agreed to do, please do not go back on your word. I have always been taught by both of you that promise is a promise." The parents realized that if they went back on their word, their daughter would lose faith in all they had taught her. The girl was taken to the salon over the weekend and her head was shaved. The next morning, her father dropped the little girl to school. As she entered the school gate with her clean shaven head, she went to her father. Just then a boy called out and asked her to wait for him. The boy too had a clean shaven head. Pressing the ignition, the father thought to himself, this must be some weird new fashion trend. As he was about to drive away, a lady came to him and said, my son and your daughter are in the same class. My son was diagnosed with blood cancer a few months ago. As a result of chromatography, he lost all his hair. He was anxious about rejoining school because he knew he would get teased. Your daughter told him not to worry about teasing. She was going to take care of it. Little did I realize that an 8-year-old would make such a big sacrifice of shaving off her beautiful long hair. You are so lucky to have such a compassionate daughter. She is an amazing human being. The father was astonished. When she reached home, he told his wife what the lady had said. They realized that they were blessed to have such a caring and compassionate daughter. An 8-year-old had demonstrated compassion in a manner they would never forget. We could do our children a big favor by not interfering with their acts of compassion. We could go a step further and encourage them when we see them do their best to be kind and thoughtful. In fact, we could learn from our children. Compassion brings us to a stop, and for a moment we rise above ourselves. By Marcin Coley.